Before Glasnost, before Perestroika, was the Iron Curtain and the Cold War. Ronald Reagan seeks another term in the White House. The Soviet Union is still the evil empire. It is 1984.
Courtroom organisers say the plan is to block the entrance to Auckland Harbour at its narrowest point. The Reverend George Armstrong says the protesters intended to be peaceful.
There are literally hundreds of boats, police and protesters out on the water now, making it difficult for the prefect to enter the Rangitoto Channel.
It's dial a sailor time again, folks. If anyone wants to invite an American sailor home for a traditional Southern roast, give us a call here at 168.
What happened out in the water yesterday was regrettable. I would urge you, ladies and gentlemen, to keep things in perspective. You must balance the actions of a couple of hundred of protesters against the good wishes of many thousands of New Zealanders. Our boys have been flooded with hospitality. Gosh, we simply don't have enough sailors to take up all the offers to dine in private homes.
Mr. Ambassador, some people are claiming the commander of the Queenfish acted irresponsibly yesterday when he accelerated through the protest fleet.
Gosh, I don't know what else he could have done, Mr. Ronayne. There were boats everywhere.
Well, that's the point, surely. There were boats everywhere.
The ambassador and I agree that the commander of the Queenfish showed great skill and seamanship. It is a credit to him, his crew, the New Zealand police, and Navy escorts that no one was hurt out there.
Mr. Ambassador, this visit of the Queenfish is the fourth such visit in the last 8 months, which is quite a lot for this part of the world.
We're right neighbourly people, Mr. Griffin.
Yeah, I'm afraid the ambassador has another appointment, so we must end it here.
Thank you for coming. Richard, this peace movement, how many would you say are members of the Communist Party?
6?
600 or 1,000?
6 as in half a dozen. There's over 300 separate peace groups in New Zealand. 2/3 of the population live in nuclear-free zones.
Come on, Richard. Any tin pot borough council can declare a district nuclear-free. I mean, what matters is central government and who is in power.
And 3 out of the 4 major political parties have nuclear-free policies.
There's a general election at the end of the year.
The burden placed on future generations by this Prime Minister, this Minister of Finance, has been rather aptly described as intergenerational theft.
Order!
I have no doubt in my mind that the National Party will itself completely disown this man.
Mind your back, Rob. Jim's declared his loyalty.
Yeah, you guys can't hack it.
Mr. Speaker. Go on, Rob. Promise us a better yesterday.
Order. I am on my feet. All members must be seated. And that includes the Prime Minister.
Yes?
I am on my feet.
So you are, Mr. Speaker, so you are. Can I carry on now? Sit down.
Interjections must be rare and reasonable.
Quite right, Mr. Speaker. The most interesting aspect of that last contribution was not the content of the speech, but who it was given by. The member for Manurewa. The member for Manurewa said that the national government would disown its leader. Ha! The mere fact that the member for Manurewa led this first debate of the session means that the Parliamentary Labor Party has already disowned its leader.
It's a financial debate.
It's a financial debate. The leader of the opposition, by his actions, says, I cannot lead because I know nothing about finance and economics. So he puts up the member for Manurewa, a man whose right-wing economic policies have been disowned by his own party.
Devalue immediately? Jesus, Rod, you must never commit that sort of advice to paper. Even talking about devaluation is risky.
You Reserve Bank guys are way out of line over this. You're way out of line.
Yeah, we can't just bury our heads in the sand, Bernie. It's an option we have to look at, surely.
If word got out, we'd have a massive run on the dollar.
Well, that's the point. The Reserve Bank is worried we don't have enough overseas reserves, and what reserves we do have are not immediately liquefiable. We're in big trouble if an election...
This is a Treasury matter, Rod.
The Secretary of Treasury, I have to take the advice of the Prime Minister. I can assure you he's preparing a budget for a November election, and a devaluation is not on the agenda.
Mr. Speaker, a new suit, a new tie, a new pompadour hairstyle, aviator spectacles, do nothing to
Muldoon's
disguise
right.
the fact.
Look at David. He needs more work. I'm going to bring in that acting coach.
He's got plenty of company in this place.
The whip's been dispatched to silence, Marilyn.
He can try.
The others are too timid to buck the whip. Good on you, Marilyn.
Order. I would remind the Leader of the Opposition that standing orders forbid him referring to members by their names.
I would like to finish by repeating that it is very significant indeed, that the Leader of the Opposition did not have the confidence to get up on his feet and lead this debate.
Got Longy rattled. He knows it and his colleagues know it.
Longy's dangling on the wire. We'll leave him to swing out there until November. There'll be nothing left for the birds to pick at.
You're slapping, David. Sit up straight.
Jonathan, is it that time again already?
I've reviewed tapes of your press conferences. I can see you're making great progress. I can also see what you're doing wrong.
The difference between the theatre and the press conference, Jonathan, is that I can't rehearse my ad-libs beforehand. It's all improvised.
Don't cover your anxiety with a joke. Stop fiddling with your tie. If you're not comfortable with me, you won't be comfortable with a television interview. Leave the glasses alone. If you don't trust yourself, you'll make it difficult for others to put their trust in you. You're still hiding. Take your hands off your willy. No. No! David, we love you. We all love you. We think you've got enormous potential. But if you want strangers to vote for you, you've got to be able to walk into a room stark naked, say, "This is me. Here I am." You've got to be prepared to stick your hand in your rib cage, pull out your own beating heart, and offer it to the audience.
Honestly, Simon, you can pick him.
You're supposed to be the best in the country.
The man was mad, barking mad.
And Jonathan says you're making great progress.
I felt like diving at the fire escape. Simon, I'm sick of it. I've had the new haircut, the new seat, the new glasses. This is me, this is all there is.
David, you're doing fine. In Washington, you got to shake him by the hand and look him in the eye. The Yanks are really big on body language.
Maybe when it comes to body language, I've got an incurable stutter.
Nonsense. This is not a familiarisation tour for the Leader of the Opposition. You're going there as the future Prime Minister of New Zealand. Good luck, David. That's good. That's good.
Thank you, Henry Higgins.
You've got maturity onset diabetes.
What does that mean?
Well, it's not uncommon in men of your age. Your pancreas doesn't work as well as it used to, which is hardly surprising considering your lifestyle. I suppose advising you to slow down is a complete waste of time. You're going to have to take insulin to control your blood sugar levels.
How long will that go on for?
The rest of your life.
Is that all?
Change your diet, lose some weight, and stay off the alcohol. And try and get a decent night's sleep.
I always sleep well.
What do we know about this guy, apart from the fact his defense policy stinks?
He's a bit of a whiz kid. Formerly a lawyer, he was elected to Parliament in a by-election in '77 and made such an impact within weeks he was being talked about as a future leader.
Any vices?
Food. He once weighed 350 and couldn't cross his legs.
This is him.
Methodist lay preacher. He doesn't smoke, swear, drink, or gamble. He doesn't fool around or cheat on his wife. Last year, he had his stomach stapled to help him lose weight and prolong his life expectancy.
If you're having that much fun, why bother?
Rick Armitage has been a really good friend to New Zealand. There haven't been too many assistant secretaries of defense that I can just pick up the phone and make a call anytime we've got a problem.
Operation was a success, lost a lot of weight. He became leader of the Labour Party and did really well for a while. But lately his personal ratings have dropped to an all-time low.
Couldn't cross his legs? Why are we bothering with this clown?
There's still the possibility that come November he could be the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Mr. Longy, sir. David, please. Rick Armitage, David. This is Jim Kelly. How you doing, Al?
Just fine, thanks, Rick.
This ANZUS stuff just chokes me up. You, the Aussies, us, we fought shoulder to shoulder in every major war this century. World War II, Korea.
Vietnam.
That one's personal.
You served there.
And I'll tell you what, with all due respect to the Aussies and our own finest, I'd just as soon have a Kiwi grunt covering my ass. We've shed a lot of blood together because we espouse the same values and are prepared to make the same sacrifices for the common good. You bring enormous prestige to the negotiating forums of the free world. You are a respected voice.
Really? There we are. A strategic dagger pointed at the heart of Antarctica.
You guys count with us. A few years back, your ambassador had a problem with Congress, threatening to restrict New Zealand sheep meat imports to the U.S. So he contacted Weinberger. Casper picked up the phone and explained the situation to George Shultz. Between them, they rang a score of congressmen. And I'm telling you, that bill never saw the light of day. As far as we're concerned, New Zealand sits up the front of the bus.
What do you make of him, Alf?
Oh, he's smart. I think he'd be a quick learner.
Right now, we've got the Russians on the ropes. They're taking a bath in Afghanistan.
Since you supplied the Mujahideen with Stinger ground-away missiles.
Damn right. They're also crapping themselves over the F-16 squadrons we've shifted into Japan. That's freed us up in the Persian Gulf. Then we've got cruise and Pershing missiles going into Europe.
You seem to be upping the global ante considerably.
We're not doing it just to prove we've got bigger peckers. We know the Soviet economy is in the shit. Every time we raise the ante, they risk bankruptcy just to stay in the game. Sooner or later, they got a hard choice. Economic disaster or swallow the poison and sue for peace. High stakes, David. The Western Alliance must be resolute and united. It'd be a damn shame if someone were to break ranks. Take a seat. Let me give you a for instance. The U.S. is neither confirm nor deny policy.
An utterly random example, I'm sure.
We know what your party's saying, David, but our policy is absolute and non-negotiable for all our warships in all ports.
I'm sure we can work things out.
Work things out. Work things out. Sure. Sure, but you know there are limits to working things out. There are no secret agreements, no under-the-counter arrangements, no sweetheart deals, no behind-the-scenes codicils with anyone. With the best will in the world, and where you Kiwis are concerned, you can take that as a given from me. I'm a soldier, not a politician, but not everything can be worked out is what I'm saying.
Rick, there's no hiding the fact that my party's position is anti-nuclear. But it's not anti-American, nor is it anti the ANZUS alliance. I want to tell you as clearly as I know how, you have nothing to fear from a future New Zealand Labor government. If both sides are prepared to be patient and sensible and talk through those matters which can be talked through, we shouldn't have any problems.
David, all the best.
Bye, Jim. Well, how did that go, sir?
Very well, Alf. You get the body language right, you can talk turkey to anyone.
I think we can do business with this guy.
Let's tell the Yanks to hell with them and their war toys. To hell with this weasel talk about renegotiating the ANZUS alliance. Let's just pull out of it altogether. Who are our enemies, fellow delegates? Where are they?
Sit down, Treble.
Yeah, well, I hate to introduce a note of realism into the debate, Mr. Chairman.
Sit down.
Hang on. ANZUS. I mean, just look at it. Australia, New Zealand, and the United States, all old mates with a lot in common. Language, history, culture, all too important just to simply walk away from.
But ANZUS can recognise these things, surely, without being a military alliance. Yeah, and without being a nuclear alliance. To that end, when Parliament resumes, I will be introducing my nuclear-free New Zealand bill. Now this bill will make it illegal for anyone to import or store nuclear weapons on New Zealand soil or in our territorial waters.
Well, that way we won't have to pull out of ANZUS. Yanks will cut us dead. They'll get all the blame.
It's the grass, you know, Chuck. That's the secret. They grow fantastic grass in this country.
Sir.
Perfect soil, rainfall.
They're gonna do it, sir. They're gonna introduce an anti-nuclear bill.
Who?
The Labour Party.
The government has a majority of one. If anyone crosses the floor to vote for this anti-nuke bill...
The bill would become law, the government would have to resign, and we can kiss goodbye to our November election strategy.
Prime Minister Muldoon is a very capable man. He's toughed out worse situations than this. I have every confidence in him.
Chief Government Whip is waiting for you, sir.
Well, Don, what is it?
I don't think we have a majority on Prebble's anti-nuclear bill.
Marilyn.
She's giving every indication that she'll cross the floor.
I am getting heartily sick of that woman.
She hasn't actually defected yet, but those are the signals she's giving out.
We can't rely on her.
I'll talk to her again, see what I can do.
Do what you can, Don. I reckon we ought to go fishing for one of theirs. MacDonnell should come with us. You know, this bill's got precious little to do with nuclear weapons, Don. Prebble's hoping to embarrass us, but he may have been too clever for his own leader's good. Long he's been fudging and ducking on ANZUS for months now. He's going to have to declare his true colours on this one.
David, you've got some visitors.
Goodness for that. Hey, g'day.
G'day.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Yeah, love one, thanks.
We'll have it in the shed. Right, pleased to see you.
Everyone who saw the day after wants to speak to the bill, of course. Now, I've shortlisted O'Flynn, Rolling, Hunt, Helen and me.
And you.
We've got the bastards on the ropes here.
We need you to be a part of it.
It could turn into an anti-ANZUS alliance thing.
So?
A lot of New Zealanders want to see ANZUS remain intact. It may be only symbolic, but it's symbolism many New Zealanders endorse.
Yeah, well, the bill isn't anti-ANZUS. It's anti-nuclear.
We can't give Muldoon or the Americans the opportunity to dismiss us as a bunch of loony lefties you wouldn't put in charge of a school bus.
It won't be like that. We'll be careful.
Let me think about it.
Yeah, well, the Nats are in deep shit. We've got Marilyn on board.
What about Brian MacDonnell? You tied him up?
What's the story, Brian? You were going to get back to me.
Listen, Don, I'm not sure. I'm losing sleep over this one.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Look, you know I support ANZUS, Don, but cross the floor of the House.
Look at the shabby way the Labor Party treated you, Brian. They dumped you. You owe them nothing.
Don't believe a word, Brian.
Marilyn, I want to talk to you.
I'd like to speak to the Prime Minister, Don.
I'll organise it.
Look, you got every reason to be pissed off, Brian. But it wasn't my doing. I mean, I lobbied head office on your behalf. Well, a lot of us did. Yeah, well, I'm counting on you to support me, Brian. Yeah, I'll see to it you're not forgotten when Labor sweeps into office.
Marilyn, you're not going to do anything silly, are you?
On the contrary, Don. I may just do the smartest thing I've done in my 9 years in this place.
What does that mean?
Read tonight's paper, Don.
Controls, no price controls, no wage controls, while the New Zealand economy, which supposedly has benefited from such regimentation, can scarcely achieve a growth rate of 2%.
The honourable member hasn't done his homework. Australia is coming out of a drought and there has been a worldwide upturn in the minerals market. He knows full well that the two economies cannot be compared.
That's a pathetic answer.
Order. Order.
Labor's not going to speak.
Well, good on him. Nuclear weapons aren't going to be the issue in November. It's the economy that's the issue.
Time for questions.
Well, it's important. Oh, I thought he
Bill
would.
stands in the name of the member for Auckland Central, Richard Prebble.
The nuclear-free New Zealand bill, first reading.
There he goes. Walkabout time again.
Will MacDonnell cross the floor? Depends on who threatened him last.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Speaker.
I am still on my feet. The member will resume his seat. I point out that in accordance with Speaker's ruling 15/5 on the rights and prerogatives of the Crown, it is not competent for the House to pass the bill into law unless
Muldoon
at some
can't do
stage
this.
it
In the
is
face of 600 years
to
of
the House
parliamentary convention.
by a message from the Governor-General.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. how can you suddenly refer to the rights and the prerogatives of the Crown when previous bills of this kind have been introduced into this House without any of this outrageous nonsense?
I would ask the member to resume his seat.
Mr. Preble wastes his time citing precedent.
And his wind.
Quite simply, this bill will not be passed because the government will not recommend to the Governor-General that he give the royal assent.
Gang of one! Gang of one! Sir, this bill, if passed, will make New Zealand the first sovereign nation in the world to be completely nuclear-free by law.
Where's your boss?
Mr. Speaker, we can make no greater mistake as a country than believe that because we are small, we can do little. Our small size and our isolation enable us to make a bold and creative initiative that would capture the imagination of the world. Mr. Speaker, the world now possesses 47,000 nuclear warheads. Oh, the destructive power of those warheads is equivalent to about 1 million Hiroshima bombs. The world now has 2,000 tons of TNT, equivalent for every man, woman, and
A
child.
good speech.
Very good speech. I couldn't have put it better myself.
You might have if you'd tried.
Mr. Speaker, ANZUS is our most important defence pact, and this bill is incompatible with it.
How would you know?
From talking to the Commander-in-Chief of US forces in the Pacific, Admiral Crowe,
Top
and
man,
from
Bill
my
Crowe.
talks in February with representatives of the American administration in Washington, including Defense Secretary Weinberger.
Casper, we're winning here.
Visits by American vessels are an inevitable part of the ANZUS Defence Treaty.
That's right. Right.
There is not the slightest doubt that this bill, if passed, would mean the end of ANZUS. And we could not remain in government if it became law. Therefore, it will not become law.
Order! Order! The Right Honourable Sir Wallace Rowling.
Where's MacDonnell?
Ah, Brian. I was hoping I'd run into you. We're having a spot of bother with some of our caucus. We'll need your help to defeat this bill.
With respect, Prime Minister, I'm not interested in your caucus. All that bothers me is ANZUS. If the bill is going to badly affect the treaty, I will vote against it.
This bill will spell the end of ANZUS.
Well, you have to say that, don't you?
I've just said exactly that to the House. But don't take my word for it, Brian. Ask the Americans.
Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill seeks to play on the genuine fears and hopes of many thousands of New Zealanders.
Shouldn't you be speaking to this bill, David?
New Zealand is part of
Having spent the last 6 months trying to present the Labor Party as a kind of government in exile, I want to focus on domestic issues over the next 5 months, not foreign policy.
The nuclear issue is important to a lot of people.
And to me. But any debate about what might happen in the event of the breakup of ANZUS can only create uncertainty in the mind of the electorate. And uncertainty can only favour the government.
Well, Doom will accuse you of ducking this issue.
He'd love to drag me into this. He's hoping desperately we'll hand him the opportunity to campaign up and down the country on ANZUS. Because he knows he can hardly campaign on his handling of the economy.
But this cynical, short-sighted, utterly expedient measure would undo all that without making the world one jot safer.
Mr. Speaker.
A point of order.
Mr. Speaker.
Helen Clark.
Mr. Speaker, I strongly support the bill, but as I see the member for Waipa wants to speak, I should like to yield my time to her under Speaker's ruling 85/5.
Well right. Welcome, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Speaker's rulings are quite clear on this point. Any member may yield his or her time to another member. Marilyn Waring.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Come on! Sit down! Shut up! This is disgraceful! Let us speak!
Yes, I'd like to speak to the ambassador, please. Thank you.
Who is this Brian McDonnell again?
Lame duck Labour MP. But a hawk on ANZUS.
Lame duck hawk, huh? Brian, what can I do for you?
Well, it's the nuclear-free New Zealand bill, sir. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how I should vote.
Gee, Brian, it would be more than my life's worth to tell you how to vote. But I'd be lying to you if I said we were happy about the proposed legislation. In fact, Brian, I agree with you. It would make ANZUS all but impossible.
Ah, thank you.
Lock the doors.
Lock the doors!
Lock the doors! Lock the doors!
The question is that leave be given to introduce the nuclear-free New Zealand bill. The ayes will go to the right, the noes will go to the left.
While this division is taking place,
I hope they paid you your 30 pieces of silver in advance, Brian. Buffoon. Was that an accusation or an admission?
Order. Order. The ayes are 39. The noes are 40. The motion is defeated.
Rob's pulled through again.
Unlock the doors.
No, close.
Yeah, but not close enough. Too close for Rob. He's got up to change his trousers.
To Rob Muldoon.
Rob Muldoon.
He toughed it out. The events of today, however, demonstrate that we've got a lot of work to do between now and the November elections.
We've got 5 months to sell the ANZUS alliance to the New Zealand public. We've got Congressman Solars and Senator Pritchard coming over in July. We've got the ANZUS triad in October. But the big news is the full ANZUS council meeting here in mid-July. We've got a very special guest lined up.
It's official. George Schultz is coming.
All right. They want circuses, we'll give them circuses.
Morning, Sir Robert.
I hope this won't take long, Madam President.
As party president, it is my responsibility to tell you the bad news. The situation is serious. Membership is down, funding is down, and our own polling has us trailing Labour in all the key marginal electorates. If an election were held tomorrow, we would lose by 8 seats. The good news is that we still have 5 months to turn it around. Would you like to come in at this point, Sir Robert?
Oh, goodness me, no, Madam President. You carry on.
I was about to ask you whether you have any comments to make on the events that happened yesterday in the House.
Spot of bother with wearing. It won't happen again, Madam President, I assure you.
I've asked our advertising maestro, Fred Dobbs, along to talk about some strategies for November. Fred.
Thanks, Sue. Now, don't despair. That's my message. Alan Wicker has been in touch. Andrew Lloyd Webber has expressed interest in writing a campaign song. We could get Michael Crawford to sing it. Come November, we're going to hit the hustings with the most glamorous, the most dazzling, the most wonderful election campaign this country has ever seen. The Labour Party won't know what's hit it. Well, how are you, Rob?
Oh, can't complain, Fred.
Thea rang me. You must look after yourself.
Oh, she fusses too much.
She worries about you. If you're on insulin, you shouldn't be drinking.
Now, you're starting to sound like her.
From now on, stick to the mineral water, okay?
So Maryland's decided to formally withdraw from the government.
At this stage, it's a conditional withdrawal.
How is she at the moment?
Pretty stressed, I think. She took a bit of a beating on Prebble's bill.
Well, you better get Sue Wood in to talk to her.
Sue's meeting Marilyn in my office, 9:30.
Good. How can I run a country, Don, when from one day to the next I don't know if I've got a majority? Look, sound out the MPs and the marginal seats. See what sort of shape they're in to fight a snap election.
Tonight?
Tonight. I've had a guts full.
Ah, Geoffrey, good to see you. Margaret, how are you? You know this man, I suppose?
He looks familiar. Evening, Margaret.
Been asked to withhold your signature from any good bills lately? Not any good bills, no.
Yes, I should say so, David. I had no idea that little stunt was coming up.
Well, the bill did make it so the situation never arose. Now, none of us, myself included, will ever know how I would have responded. Have either of you met the new editor of the Dominion? Have you met these gentlemen and this lady?
Jeff Bayliss.
Geoffrey Palmer, my wife Margaret.
And Jim McClay. There would have been more of us here to congratulate you, Jeff, but the House is in session tonight.
We're having problems with Marilyn. How do you feel about going to the polls on a wet and windy Saturday in July rather than in sunny November?
I'm started, Don. I'm sick of the bitch.
She's got a pension and free air travel, so now she wants to be a public darling?
Yeah, bugger her. What have we got to lose?
Well, your seats.
Count on me. I'm as ready now as I'll ever be. Marilyn could pull the plug on us any time between now and November.
This way she won't get the chance, and we'll catch Labour off guard. Go for it.
McKinnon's running around the building like a blue-ass fly.
Something's up.
They wouldn't let me speak, Sue. They wouldn't let me.
I've just got in, Don. It's important that I talk to Marilyn alone.
I should warn you, the boss is pretty angry. He wants to get this thing sorted tonight, once and for all.
I don't want any more to do with them.
We both know that isn't true.
Thought I'd find you in here.
Rob, Sue wants to talk to Marilyn alone. Why don't we give them a little time?
She's had all the time she's going to get.
Look, I came to talk to Marilyn alone. That is precisely what I intend to do. Shall we go next door? I'd appreciate a large gin and tonic, Don. What would you like? Fruit juice.
While you're at it, Don, you might give me another whiskey and soda.
I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to. You won't have to. I'll do the talking, but I have to know exactly what you will and what you won't do.
I won't attend caucus. They're like a bunch of puerile schoolboys.
Select committees?
No.
OK. Will you support the government on procedural matters?
I'm not prepared to be lobby fodder on the issues I care about.
Well, let's nail those down.
Nuclear issues. Rape legislation. I reserve the right to cross the floor on those.
But those issues aside, you will do nothing to bring down the government?
I give you my word.
Prime Minister, Marilyn has effectively ceased to be a full-time member of the National Caucus. But she has given me her word she will do nothing to bring down the government.
I don't trust her.
I trust her. She has given me her word, and I am asking you to trust me.
I don't care what undertaking she's given to you, I don't trust her.
Well, that's your business.
You're damn right it's my business. You're not stable. Sometimes your behaviour is so erratic, I think you must be emotionally unhinged.
Say that outside the house and I'll sue you.
This isn't getting us anywhere.
I'm sick of your grandstanding, Marilyn. We've all supported you over the years, and you repay us by running off to the news media and parading yourself as a saint and a martyr, while we get written up as the villains. You look clean and we look grubby and dishonest. If we went out of here into a general election tonight, you'd be held up as the woman in white, and yet I have no faith in you at all.
Well, that's your problem.
Yes, it is my problem, and I'm going to fix it. Don, tell them what the boys in the marginal seats said about a snap election.
What?
They're keen. They don't want this business dragging on for another 5 months.
What is going on here?
Arrange a caucus meeting for 10:30, Don. We're going to the country.
Are you crazy? We'll lose by at least 8 seats. The party is not ready.
Then tell them to get off their backsides.
I'm not really being critical of the news media. I'm just saying that if journalists were elected every 3 years by their readers, they'd see things differently. I'm afraid you'll have to excuse me, Sir David. I have to return to the house immediately.
Of course, Jim. I'll see you to the door. Excuse me.
Excuse me. Could I use the phone?
Certainly, this way.
What do you think's happened?
I heard a rumour Muldoon was ill. Perhaps he...
Sir, just round the corner there, sir.
Hey. What's going on?
Special caucus meeting.
Yeah, newsroom? Harmon, get a camera crew down here now.
Good. Now you stay there, Jeffrey.
Right.
If it's true, Muldoon will have to turn up at Government House to ask the Governor-General to prorogue Parliament. Stay in touch. I reckon you might be right. Macleay's been called back from Government House.
Oh, jeez.
Not for us to reason why. Better round up the troops.
Muldoon must have flipped. I hear he's having trouble writing the budget.
Yeah, well, he's a cunning old bastard. Maybe he thinks he's got David on the ropes. Just wants to finish him off now.
What's going on?
I need a leak.
Oh, Warren.
What's up? Marilyn's pulled the plug.
She what?
I can't govern with a part-time member of caucus.
I quite agree, but can't we...
Going to the country.
What?
Eh? I will not be held to ransom.
You sure we can't stagger on? I mean, when we're going to give Longy till November to hang himself?
Longy? He's a goner already.
But is the party ready? What about the marginals?
Keen as mustard.
They are?
What date will the election be?
July 14.
We've got Schultz coming on July 17th for the ANZUS Council meeting. What happens to that if we lose?
Lose? Ha! We're not going to lose.
The shit's going to hit the fan with the Americans if we lose it, Jim.
Yes, then again, if we lose it, Warren, they won't be our problem anymore, will they? They'll be Longy's.
Mr. Prime Minister.
You're not coming in, Madam President.
I have a right to be there.
I'm sorry, sir.
You can't let him go to the country. Someone's got to stop him.
Prime Minister, Prime Minister.
Right. This shouldn't take long. I can't run a country while I'm being held to ransom by a backbench MP.
He's right.
I don't trust her. Oh, she's promised she won't bring down the government, and she may mean it now. She may mean it tomorrow. But will she last 5 months? No, she won't. And I'm not waiting around like some sitting duck. I propose to take the initiative and go to the country. Now. If anyone's opposed, you should say something.
We're with you, Rob.
Yes.
Right. I'm off to ask the Governor-General to prorogue Parliament.
Who's going to win?
We are! We are! We are!
Sir David, a word.
This man needs a drink. You better come through.
We're in. Every out-of-town MP has to be back in Wellington on the first available flight.
Hello, Nancy? Yeah. Hey, look, you know that sink I pulled out last weekend and promised to put back in the weekend? Yeah, well, look, Muldoon's gone mad. He's called a snap election.
Captain, check out the availability of town halls and all main centres.
We've had 9 years of discord, division and government by decree, Bob. We need to know what the campaign's going to be about in a single word. Harmony. Harmony. Yeah, we'll buy that. Okay.
I've never seen anything like it. Maclay got this note, blushed bright scarlet and fled. I figured it must have been something to do with Marilyn.
Whatever could she have done to precipitate this? Yeah, that's great, thanks.
Hello?
Naomi,
David, what's wrong?
guess what? Muldoon's done it. He's called a snap election.
Honestly, David, I was fast asleep.
Well, I just...
Oh, it's all right, David. Good luck.
Muldoon was just about legless when he turned up to see the GG, who offered him another drink.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
Where is he again?
Back in his electorate. Templeton's in Canberra. My secretary will have the hotel details.
Look, someone should ring for a dog.
You do it, Bill.
Do you want to speak to Dave Kidd?
No, just tell all the MPs to get their butts up here.
I'm just worried sick about Mary. Well, she was very distressed when I last saw her. Someone should keep an eye on her.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
I don't want her to do anything silly. Thank you.
Come on, Madam President. We're going to talk to the press.
I'm not ready. I'll look dreadful.
Rob.
Prime Minister! Mrs. Woods, what's happening? Can you tell us?
There will be an election in 4 weeks' time. It'll be our lot against the other lot. That's what it's come down to, our lot against the other lot.
That doesn't give you much time to organise a campaign, Prime Minister.
Doesn't give my opponent much time either, does it, Mr. Harmon?
Mrs. Woods, do you support the Prime Minister in this move?
As president of the National Party, I always support our leader.
What happened?
Thanks for the warning, Monroe. What the hell do your people do all day, huh?
It's come as a huge surprise to everyone, Richard. I mean, we talk with senior people of the Muldoon administration on pretty well a daily basis, and there was no hint of this.
I hate surprises, Monroe. The bigger the surprise, the more I hate them. When's polling day?
Polling day?
4 weeks today, July 14th.
July 14th.
Great. Gets better and better. That's 2 days before the ANZUS Council meeting in Wellington. Secretary of State Schultz will be delighted. You want to tell him? Because I sure as hell don't want to.
Perhaps we should cancel the...
Yeah, sure. Publicly admit we have a problem and hand the election to the Labour Party on a plate. Schultz's schedule is planned years in advance. Besides, if Muldoon wins, we should be there to show it's business as usual. And if Longy wins, Schultz should eyeball him as soon as possible to keep him honest.
Hey everybody, it's after 2 a.m. and some of you have early morning appointments. And this is just the beginning of the campaign. You've all responded magnificently tonight. I'm proud of you. If we can keep this up, we'll romp home in 4 weeks' time. Please, come on, bugger off or we won't last the distance. Good night. Oh, thanks.
Nice to you.
8:45. Thanks, Jeffrey. Appreciate it.
We're going to win.
Absolutely.
You go home too. You've got an early appointment.
I'm on my way.
Good luck, David.
Thanks, Margaret.
I reckon the boys all look pretty keen tonight, Don, didn't they?
We're right behind you, Rob. Determined to fight a good, hard campaign.
And we'll win it too. I mean, we're looking good. We're in good shape. I mean, I can't be certain of that, but, well, I think we'll win it.
Ken, nip down to the basement car park and let his tyres down. He's not driving himself home tonight.
I've done the right thing, haven't I, Sam?
Of course you have, Prime Minister.
I think we should call it a night, Rob. It's getting late. I'll call your car.
No, you won't. I'm going to have another drink and then I'm going to drive home. So, here's the election.
Armitage wants a report on his desk by morning. Wants to know what the hell's going on down here. What the hell is going on down here?
In short, in matters vegetable, animal, and mineral, I am the very model of a modern governor general.
In short, in matters vegetable, animal, and mineral, he is the very model of a modern governor general.
Good to see the National Party's in great shape, John.
Two punctures, Don. What about that? You weren't like that this morning, Don. You weren't like that this morning.
Hi, Rob.
Right.
There you go.
The country is to go to the polls in 4 weeks' time. Last night, in a move that took political commentators and many of his own colleagues by surprise, Sir Robert Muldoon called a snap election. Political commentators say it's far too early to say how the financial markets will respond.
How are we doing, Rod? Spencer, if Reuters aren't quoting a figure, we're in trouble.
Nobody's buying Kiwi dollars. Nothing.
Who would buy overpriced currency 4 weeks out from an election?
There'll be a stampede to sell. Everyone will anticipate a devaluation if Labour win.
Every man and his dog will want cover. The money's going to flood out of this country, and we may not have enough cash in the kitty.
What do you think?
Stonewall it. Open the exchange late, do it casually, but hold them off for as long as possible.
I'm not sure we can do that, Rod.
Necessity is the mother of intervention.
What you're saying is that the various committees who've spent months formulating policy can get stuffed.
Look, we go to the country in 4 weeks. We don't have time to observe the traditional niceties.
So you're asking the Labour Party to hand the entire campaign over to a bunch of admin?
The bloody election will be over, and you and your party committees will still be agonising over whether the right number of women, Maoris and cripples are represented in our ads.
That settles it. We want to see every ad before it goes to air.
You will see them. You will. Okay? What we have to decide today, right now in fact, is what this campaign is going to be about. And we have to decide who's the best person to take this message to the people of New Zealand.
The message is surely that we have the best team, so the team should deliver that message.
Wrong. You're right. We do have the best team, right? Of course we have the best team, and that's part of it, definitely, okay?
But the message...
The message itself. The message that this country needs to hear, that it is starving to hear, is a message of harmony. Harmony and reconciliation. Lovely message, healing the divisions. Harmony and reconciliation, that's what Bob Harvey suggested.
Makes sense. Bob, each way Harvey strikes again.
It does, doesn't it? It worked for Bob Hawke and Oz, and it'll work for us. And the vehicle for this message, because let's face it, the vehicle is the message, the perfect vehicle for this wonderful message of harmony and reconciliation is David.
What? You're joking.
I agree.
David's dead in the water as far as the polls are concerned. He's hopelessly insecure on television.
He's improved. He'll be great.
We have to promote the whole team.
David?
Given the time available generally, we may have no alternative but to take that message to this country and deliver it as powerfully and as creditably as we possibly can. But I relish that challenge. I relish the chance to deliver that message of peace and harmony to this country. Because our people are crying out for healing and balance. We must step back from the confrontation of the Muldoon years, where interest group was set against interest group, sector against sector, boss against worker, Maori against Pakeha, the old against the young, the strong against the weak. This will be a feel-good campaign, all right. And I can assure you, our people will feel a whole lot better on July 14 when we have won.
Right. Shall we get to work?
We sold $110 million worth of foreign exchange in the first hour after we opened, Bernie. That's more than we'd sell in a month.
I suppose we should tell Muldoon.
I already phoned him. I suggested a number of options, including devaluation, which he rejects totally. He wants us to re-enter the forward market.
Have we got enough money?
Good question, Bernie. Have we?
It's getting worse. I've got Petrocorp on the line wanting $600 million in forward cover. What shall I say?
Hang up.
I can't do that.
Lines must be overloaded. Ignore all government departments trying to buy forward cover. We'll put the premiums up. If the market wants to bet on the possibility of a devaluation, they can pay for it. Now, we'll need to draw on all our reserves and standby facilities. How much can Treasury get hold of quickly?
It's difficult to say. I guess we can liquefy some short-term investments and raise perhaps 150 million.
That's not enough. What about the 800 million in Japanese yen?
Bit of a complication there, I'm afraid. It's not immediately liquefiable. It could take a few weeks to release.
Bernie, you were warned repeatedly that this might happen. From now on, the Reserve Bank will run everything till this fiasco's over. And Treasury will do what it's told when it's told. In the meantime, you're banned from this building. I don't want you around here cocking things up. Is that clear?
Remember the wage and price freeze? That's when your pay packet remained the same size, but your weekly trips to the
Oh,
supermarket...
no, stop. Naomi's drifted out her shot. What is she doing? She hasn't had a marks once in the whole shoot. We'll drop her out of there, give her the close-up of David, will you?
There's been a big run on the dollar since the election announcement. The Reserve Bank is refusing to comment, but sources suggest that more money left New Zealand this afternoon than is normally traded in a month. Sir Robert Muldoon has said that there is no cause for alarm. He has ruled out any possibility of a devaluation.
Remember the wage and price freeze? That's when your pay packet remained the same size, but your weekly trips to the supermarket cost you more and more.
That's the one. With the campaign song coming up underneath, it's going to be magic.
Assuming we get the rights to use it. We're having trouble with New York.
Well, keep trying. We're sunk without that song.
The Nats have got a cracker.
Why, what have they got?
Chariots of Fire.
Positivity. That's the key. Winning. We're going with the Chariots of Fire look and feel. We can use All Blacks, cricketers, of course, racehorses, ballerinas, competitors of the Golden Shears, all reinforcing the theme that the whole country is winning with national.
How much will the rights to Chariots of Fire cost us, Fred?
Relax. We've commissioned a copycat tune. It's orchestrated to sound like the real thing, but it's different enough to avoid infringing copyright.
Can we do that?
Watch this space.
Your campaign opening should be as positive as possible.
And what exactly does that mean?
Our surveys show that ANZUS, sporting contacts with South Africa, and Maori issues in general are no-go areas for us.
Are we allowed to mention the real world anywhere here?
Surveys are bloody useful. They show that Muldoon is vulnerable on the economy, but you'll have to keep the attacks pretty general, David. You can't afford to get into hand-to-hand combat with Muldoon over specifics. The bastard has a ferocious memory for detail, and what he can't remember he makes up, and he still sounds bloody convincing.
So in short, you want me to be tough and gentle, ruthless and compassionate, sincere and mocking, crystal clear and vague. No problem so far.
Ah, shit, they didn't put me about 30 seconds late, guys. You're gonna have to hold them. Hold them there, John. Don't let them go through.
Sir, we're not quite ready for you yet. It'll be just a minute.
Don't you let them go until I say so. Good, Dave. We're gonna have to get them to fill somehow. It's gonna be another 20 guys. Ready to take camp 3. 3, take 3. Take 3.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. It is my pleasure this evening to welcome the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Oh no, they're running another promo. You're gonna have to hold them. John, don't let them go.
Wait, stop. Hold the balloons and streamers. Sorry, folks.
We've got about 20,
Another
Dave.
false alarm.
See if you can get them to fill for 20 seconds.
Television age, Rob.
We can't go out live until the networks are ready for us.
I guess we could always sing Land of Hope and Glory again.
Camera 2. Here we go. 5.
Wait.
4.
Yes, this time. On your feet, please, folks.
1.
Last time. Don't forget the balloons and streamers. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister of New Zealand!
He's on.
Look, before the change of government in Australia, the Australian Labor Party made all sorts of statements and promises in relation to nuclear weapons and nuclear-powered vessels.
Dreadful. Whoever did his makeup
But once
would
in
have
office,
been shot.
the Hawke government had the fortitude to say, we will stick with ANZUS. And that means that we have to accept these vessels in our ports. Hawke was man enough to change his mind.
He was.
David Longy is no Bob Hawke. Even if Longy came to his senses, the Labour left wouldn't let him. Ha! He hasn't got the nerve to stand up to them like Bob Hawke.
Attaboy, Rob. Suck it to him.
A David Longy-led Labour government would spell the end of ANZUS, the end of our most important defence pact. I haven't the slightest doubt about that.
You got that? Good, I'm buggered. I'm heading off now. You can tell them in the newsroom I'll be back on deck 7 in the morning. And no, I don't need a 5 o'clock wake-up call. Thank you.
Ask for 150 million. If for God's sake, don't sound disappointed if they offer you less. When you get to Geneva, Spencer, just play it cool. These Bank of International Settlements guys are panic merchants.
Hello?
Any hint of a crisis back here and they will clam up.
I'll accept everything with a smile.
Good luck.
Thanks, Rod. I'll give you a call from Geneva when I see the lie of the land.
Yes.
Working late, aren't we?
Is that you, Joe?
I hear Reserve Bank checks won't be worth the paper they're written on soon.
Look, I can't talk to you now.
Okay, that's fine by me. I'll just go on the radio in the morning and idly speculate about a country that's on the verge of bankruptcy.
This isn't a game, Joe. If money continues to leave the country at this rate, we'll deplete our overseas reserves within 12 days. We're calling up lines of credit all around the world. Muldoon won't devalue. He refuses even to talk to us. Joe?
The $64 question, Rod. Can I use any of this?
Depends whether you're a patriot. If one word of this conversation made it into the public arena, we'd have another run on the dollar. This country would be bankrupt by election day. Up to you, really.
Thanks a heap. Speak to you after the election.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a very few minutes it will be my pleasure to introduce the next Prime Minister of New Zealand, Mr. Dybvig.
Don't worry about the cameras. Talk to the audience. Their emotional show on the screen. You'll get a wind-up signal 5 minutes before the end. That should give you plenty of time to get the audience onto its feet for the finale. The song will come up. It'll be great. You can do it, David.
Thanks, Simon.
Problem?
It's midday in New York, right, and the guy who can give us permission to use the song is out to lunch.
Okay,
Right
this is
now.
it. Jesus, we've got to get that song.
Don't worry, David. Coronation Street's on the other channel. No one will be watching you.
So his audience.
On July 14, New Zealanders will decide more than who wins an election. There is a much greater task at hand. The future of our country. Confrontation has debased our national life. New Zealand needs a new start. It needs to put behind it the stagnation and division of the last 8.5 years. Together, we must set New Zealand on a path of recovery and unity. Tonight,
I'm phoning from New Zealand. I have to speak to Mr. Cohen urgently.
To be emptied the day after the election.
I don't care if he is in a meeting. This is very important.
Of election promises designed to be broken. We used to talk about how in 8.5 years this government had dragged New Zealand from 6th to 23rd in the OECD economic growth.
Where are your policies? You're saying nothing.
Then we used to say,
True.
with some derision,
And he's saying it very well.
only Turkey was doing worse. June 84, Turkey's doing better.
He hasn't even mentioned that, Andrews. Is he going to close on domestic matters or what?
No, sir. The slippery bastard's going to duck the whole issue altogether.
Simply, we're living horribly beyond our means. I give you a country whose people can cope with one another. I give you a country where people relish their differences, enjoy their individuality, and still have the
About this song, sir. It's for a political campaign down here in New Zealand.
A country where people are able to set aside selfish interests.
Well, I guess we're sort of a cross between the Republicans and the Democrats.
On July 14, let's bring
Yeah, I guess we are pretty naive down here, sir.
Indeed. Play the song.
Thank you.
Play the bloody song.
He speaks for half an hour and never mentions Andrews. He leads a political party whose defense policy is on a collision course with the United States of America, and not a single editorial. No one cares.
Congressman Solars and Senator Pritchard will have to do some tough talking when they arrive next week, sir. They can make a difference.
Nothing public, Chuck. We can't appear to be taking sides in domestic politics.
We have to publicize the Wolfowitz speech, sir.
I'm not so sure.
We have an Assistant Secretary of State publicly warning that port visits by U.S. warships are absolutely crucial to the future of ANZUS. It's been published right across the states. We've got to get into these goddamn local yokel newspapers.
We missed you at my press briefing this morning, Mr. Renane.
I was probably still filing copy, David.
Joe was so tired after your speech, Dave, he had to go straight back to his room and lie down on someone.
Do you mind? I'm trying to conduct a civilised conversation with the next Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Have you read the Paul Wolfowitz speech, David?
I have. And I can tell you it won't wash here.
Well, it's made at Penn State for an American audience.
And distributed around the press gallery by a bunch of raincoats from the US Embassy. It's a clumsy and unwarranted intrusion by the United States into the New Zealand electoral process.
What are you going to do on the 17th when Schultz comes to Wellington for the ANZUS Council meeting?
I'm going to win the election, Mr. Harman.
Speaking of unwarranted intrusions into the electoral process, Dave, have a listen to this. You'll love it. It's Sue Wood.
Close your eyes and think of New Zealand without Rob Muldoon.
Hi.
that works.
Close your eyes, Quasimodo, and imagine life without your hump.
Which features prominently in National's You're Winning election commercials, has never in fact won a race.
Warner Brothers are threatening to sue the National Party for unlawful use of the theme music from the movie Chariots of Fire. And in the Christchurch suburb of St Albans...
Here are the main points in the news again. The latest Radio New Zealand Halen polls show that Labour still enjoys a handsome lead over National. And following another run on the dollar, the Prime Minister, Sir Robert Muldoon, rules out devaluation, but agrees to ease credit controls.
Things are not looking good for the Muldoon administration. If there is to be a change of government, Longy and his people have to be told in no uncertain terms that if they persist with their current defense policies, they're walking into a shit fight.
We'll also be hosting briefings with political scientists and senior journalists.
By all means, put the fear of God into them while you're at it. You guys do the hard cop routine, because Schultz is going to have to soft shoe it a little as Secretary of State.
I remember coming to Rotorua when I was a child. I must have been 8 or 9 when I came here on the train. We arrived late at night. My mother had given me instructions on how to find the house, but I must have taken a wrong turning because I found myself down here near the lake, alone, shrouded in mist. I retraced my steps to the station, got my directions sorted out, and eventually I found the right street and the right house all right. I think I must have taken a turning to the left when I should have taken a turning to the right. That always gets you into trouble.
Jesus, I thought he was a goner then. He is. That's what he was telling us.
Why are German bankers so suspicious, Gunther? There is no foreign exchange crisis. It's nothing more than a hiccup, really. We're just utilizing our credit lines as a precaution. Oh, come on, Gunther. If you won't lend us this paltry sum, we'll have to take our business elsewhere.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm here on behalf of the Labour Party.
Gillian?
Do you realise, sir, that New Zealand is facing its most important election this century?
Gillian!
And unless there is a change of government, we could be facing economic ruin.
Gillian!
I've got some pamphlets here outlining the incoming Labour government's economic policies. Would you be interested in reading them?
What this country doesn't realize is that Labour's defense policies are making life difficult for Bob Hawke in Australia. With the U.S. bases in Australia to go, a key element in the verification process would go as well. Without verification, the current strategic arms limitation talks would be sabotaged.
Labour's peace aspirations would in fact make the world a more dangerous place.
Let's be perfectly clear about this. Back home, some people are already suggesting trade reprisals if New Zealand goes nuclear free.
This isn't scare talk. This is reality. There are 8 trade bills before Congress right now.
The mere fact that the New Zealand Labour Party are serious contenders in this election suggests to me that the news media have not done their job properly.
The reverse might be true.
You people have a particular responsibility to inform the New Zealand public of the price of belonging to the free world. You should warn the New Zealand public of the potentially grave responsibilities of electing a Labour government naively hell-bent on undermining the Western Alliance.
Can I fix anyone a drink?
I think I've heard enough, Mr. Ambassador. Me too. I'm expecting a shortwave call from Moscow. Fresh instructions.
Maybe we can do lunch sometime, fellas.
You're way ahead on points, David.
To win, Muldoon will have to knock you out.
We don't think he can, of course.
But keep your guard up. He's at his most dangerous when he's cornered. He'll play it dirty, so be prepared for anything.
How dirty?
He might say, how can you be expected to run the country if you can't control your own eating?
My belly may be larger, but it's also higher off the ground.
You don't need to respond to taunts, David. You're above that. We love you. The people love you. Be open. You've nothing to be afraid of. You're winning. You will be the next Prime Minister. Muldoon's history. If you get the chance, you can even afford to be gracious.
Ah, yes. The kingdom of heaven without prayer, and the fruits of the earth without work.
Ready one.
Thank you, Mr.
Take one.
And Mr. Longy.
10 seconds to go. Stand by, roller caption.
Stand by on the
We'll win
closing
on Saturday.
theme.
The people are with us, and we'll bring this country together again. You will not be written out of New Zealand history, sir. There will still be a role for you to play in this country.
I love you too, Mr. Longy.
The weather was fine throughout the country, and returning officers report a heavy turnout. In some electorates, they even ran out of voting papers. The leader of the opposition, David Longy, looked relaxed when he voted in his Mangere electorate this morning. Sir Robert and Lady Muldoon voted in the Prime Minister's Tamaki electorate. Sir Robert declined to make a prediction, except to say it would be close.
Okay, stand by, Ian, and coming to you in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to Decision 84. Well, the polling booths are closed, the counting's begun, and we'll be bringing you results just as soon as they come to hand.
Thank you for that, I appreciate it. Oh, jump there.
Those results will only be provisional at this stage. They could well change later in the evening.
It's too early, of course, for predictions, but if the returns that are in so far are any indication, then it's not good news for the government. And an upset already. It looks as if the Blue Ribbon National Party seat of Ohio looks as if it's about to fall to Labour. And these are provisional results from inner city polls mainly, which tend to favour Labour, but it looks as though Labour's likely to win back both Hamilton seats, along with Horowhenua and Manawatu and Gisborne, and the two really big surprises, East Cape and Hawke's Bay.
If we take Hawke's Bay, we take the country.
Well, so how far is this going to go? Is the whole of Wellington going to be coloured red?
Well, I would think so. Looking at these results that we have to date now, Ian, that the whole of Wellington Central, go to Friend Wild.
Definite swing. There's a definite swing. You know, the whole city.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's move across. Well, Colin James, let's come to you. I know it's early days yet, but what are we looking at here? A Labour landslide?
Well, this is no great surprise, Ian. Of course, the polls have been telling us for weeks, and the results tonight are saying the same thing. We will have a change of government.
So, Sir Robert's big gamble has failed. Oh, let's go quickly to Mangere Hall.
We have just got the word. Sir Robert is about to concede defeat.
Congratulations, David. It's a very handsome win. People have spoken.
Thank you, Rob. Very good of you. Thank you for calling. It's very generous.
I look forward to seeing you on Monday. There are one or two important matters to discuss. Could Thea have a word with Naomi?
Yes, of course. Thea, you've got to talk to her. Come on. Oh, for God's sake, Naomi, come on.
Hello? When you come to Wellington next week, Mrs. Longy, I'd be only too happy to show you around Vogel House and explain how everything works.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the offer. Goodbye, Lady Muldoon. Thank you.
Goodbye now.
Get him out of here, Fred. He's drinking far too much. The press will goad him. I don't want anything nasty.
Mr. Longy, how do you feel?
I feel a tremendous sense of responsibility descending on me.
Well, you're not going to let that spoil your big night, surely.
I have had other big nights here, Mr. Harmon. I first appeared on that stage when I was 6 years old. I played a block of cheese in a school play.
Well done, sir.
Prime Minister-elect, David Longy, stop. Dear David, it is absolutely imperative that we meet as soon as possible to discuss a matter of the gravest importance concerning the economic well-being of this nation
So the
stop.
country has a new Prime Minister.
paragraph.
We're crossing now to Mangaray Hall, where we understand there are scenes of great jubilation.
Rejoice in this victory tonight, you've earned it. Tonight we party. Tomorrow we rest. And on Monday, we start working for New Zealand. And for all New Zealanders, regardless of how they voted. I want to pay tribute to the people of my electorate who've been so faithful. I want to thank the New Zealand Labour Party, who've worked so hard for this victory. And I want to express my gratitude to all of my staff. Most of them managed to get here tonight, apart from Margaret, who's still in Wellington. They've been tremendously loyal and supportive of me over the years. And I want to express my pride at being here tonight with my wife.
Canberra's on the line. Hawke wants a word with you.
Bob.
Congratulations, David.
Thank you.
I can hear a bit of a bash in the background, and I'll let you climb back into it. But first, I've got a friend who'd like a word.
George Schultz here, Mr. Longy.
Mr. Secretary, nice of you to call.
Not at all. I want to offer my congratulations on your assumption of power. It means we've got a lot of important matters to discuss when we're in Wellington next week. I look forward to meeting you in person.
I'll also look forward to that, Mr. Secretary.
Welcome to Wilmington, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Secretary. Richard, guys, you were told. There'll be a full press conference at the conclusion of the meeting.
Hey, Chuck, off the record, an ANZUS conference with a government that's been chucked out on its own? Schultz must be absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, thrilled to bits. There's an upside to it. He does get to meet Longy. Schultz will take him aside, tell him the facts of life. And the problem.
I think you're dreaming.
You don't understand much about life in this country, do you, Chuck?
You guys just don't get it, do you? We're the superpower. We don't have to understand you. You guys have to understand us.
Thanks, Chuck. We forgot.
Things are not looking good. If we open the foreign exchange tomorrow, we'll bleed to death within hours. New Zealand's overseas reserves are close to exhaustion. Someone has to talk to Muldoon about an immediate devaluation.
And we ask for God's blessing on the Longy family as David assumes the high office of Prime Minister. Guide him, Lord, in his labours and decisions in the difficult and demanding days. David. Amen.
David.
Excuse me. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his light to shine upon you. May he grant you the dignity, the strength, and the patience you will need.
So, Reserve Bank and Treasury are meeting right now. Now, they want to close the foreign exchange. They want to brief you. But their first priority is to get an answer out of Muldoon.
These have such a delicate fragrance.
The Reserve Bank rang again.
Not a particularly pretty flower, but they have such a lovely smell.
They want a meeting.
I know what they want. Well, they can close the damn foreign exchange if they like, but I'm not going to devalue. Remember how wet it used to be in this corner?
That's it?
He refused to speak to us.
But we're authorized to close the exchange.
According to Thea.
But closing the exchange is just a temporary measure. Tomorrow morning you've got to talk to him. Occupy his office if you have to, and make it very clear that we need to devalue by 20% minimum.
Mr. Galvin and Mr.
Tell
Russell
them I'm busy.
are waiting in your office.
A devaluation now would destroy all the gains we've made. It's lunacy. Thought you both had more sense.
Sir, there's no credible alternative now.
Oh, it's all speculative outflow. Greedy people getting rich at the taxpayers' expense. They'd have to bring their money back if we stood firm.
Sir, it's important that we...
What would it cost the country if we were to devalue right now?
Well, let's say we went for a 10% devaluation. It would cost 120 million.
Sir Robert, we need to brief the Prime Minister-elect on these matters. Do we have your permission to fly to Auckland to talk to Mr. Longy?
You do that, Mr. Galvin. And then report back to me after you've spoken to him.
Well, let me get this straight. You told Muldoon simply and clearly that we need a 20% devaluation.
As good as?
As good as? What did you actually say?
We told him how much a 10% devaluation would cost.
Well, it wouldn't have been proper to have given Muldoon the figure. Now he's no longer Prime Minister. He has to implement Longy's decision.
You'll miss your flight. Let's hope you do a better job of briefing Longy than you did Muldoon.
Go right down the
We
drive.
want to talk to Longy.
Rob!
Look, Schultz is in Wellington. What do we do about him?
Nothing. Let's deal with one crisis at a time.
Quiet, you. I was having a meeting.
All right.
Hello? Just a second.
I'm not sure what this is.
It's him, Muldoon.
Sir Robert.
Have Russell and Galvin spoken to you yet?
They're on their way.
Well, they more or less recommended a 10% devaluation, but such a move would add 200 million to the internal deficit and increase the cost of living by 2 to 3%.
You're saying they recommended a devaluation of 10%?
Well, the figure is irrelevant, Mr. Longy. devaluation is unnecessary. All we need to turn around the outflow of funds is a firm joint statement by you and me ruling out devaluation.
I could have sworn we won the election on Saturday. Sir Robert, I need to know if you will act on any recommendations my incoming government might make.
Certainly not. I'm still in charge. And while I'm running this country, there'll be no devaluation. Is that clear, Mr. Longy?
Thank you, Sir Robert. He has no intention of acting on our advice.
Oh, we can't let the press get wind of this. They're outside and they're staking out the Reserve Bank in town. If they find out there's a constitutional crisis brewing...
Well, look, you guys are flying back to Wellington anyway. Why don't you intercept Galvin and Russell at the airport? I'll act as a decoy in a limo.
Longy's crouching down the back. I saw him.
You go straight to the VIP lounge. I'll intercept Galvin and Russell. The place is crawling with journos. Follow me.
Gentlemen, I need to know precisely what level of devaluation you recommended to the Prime Minister.
3 weeks ago, we said 15%.
Now 20% required.
20%. Sir Robert mentioned 10%.
No, that's not correct.
Sir Robert also suggested to me that a joint statement ruling out any devaluation would resolve the crisis.
Such a course would be neither effective nor credible.
Gentlemen, one moment, please. Can we stall this with a joint statement?
A joint statement will only delay the inevitable. What if the market decides to call you bluff? Muldoon's playing games. If we don't open the foreign exchange soon, we'll default on some huge overseas loans. And if we open without a devaluation, we'll go bankrupt.
Gentlemen, tell the Prime Minister there will be no joint statement.
They briefed Longy hours ago. They're supposed to report back to me. What's happening?
They'll call soon, I expect, sir.
What's your problem, Gerald?
What's Longy decided?
On reflection, Spencer and I thought it was quite inappropriate to convey Longy's decision to the Prime Minister.
What?
Well, Spencer and I are firmly of the persuasion that any decision should come from Longy himself.
What's happening?
There seems to be some confusion. I think they're seeking clarification. I'm sure they'll be in touch soon, sir.
Well, I might as well go home.
The Prime Minister-elect will not be holding a press conference. He has advised the outgoing Prime Minister on a certain course of events, but as yet there's been no response.
Rubbish! Haven't heard from him.
With the foreign exchange closed, the Prime Minister-elect doesn't want to say anything that would worsen an already serious situation. The country faces a grave currency crisis, and as of now, the Prime Minister-elect is imposing a 24-hour news blackout.
What?
Oh,
come on. You guys have got a lot to learn. The bloody world's not going to stand still for you, you know.
We're heading out to Vogel House now. It's an exclusive, so we'll at the newsroom and the editing suite. And you better contact Longy.
Can do. Longy's opposed to news blackout.
I know there's a bloody blackout, but if Muldoon goes berserk, Longy will have to respond, won't he? Over and out.
He's very tired. This won't take long, will it?
Here's the ball and chain. Well, let's get this over with. I want to watch Hill Street Blues.
Mr. Secretary.
Monroe.
Can we get you a drink?
Where's the television?
I gave Longy advice that should have solved this problem of the pressure on the New Zealand dollar. I told him we should make a joint statement that there will be no devaluation. There's no need to devalue.
We lost more than $1 billion last Friday afternoon.
Oh, this is scorched earth stuff.
I hope tomorrow
Richard's right.
Mr. Longy
You're going to have to deal to him, David.
explain it sufficiently that he can say we won't devalue
Make it.
either.
As soon as the Muldoon tape finishes, you're on.
Live.
Hope to instruct Mr. Longy in the realities of government. We don't give way to every pressure.
Stand by, studio.
Mr. Longy, what is your reaction to the outgoing Prime Minister's statement?
Well, New Zealand's economy hemorrhages to death and billions of dollars disappear offshore. We get a King Canute performance from the outgoing Prime Minister. This is economic sabotage. Sir Robert should implement the incoming government's instructions or resign. I call on the National Party, in the interests of the nation, to bring this rogue elephant to heel.
Don,
This is a
Jim McClay
tragedy
here.
for New Zealand.
Look, round up as many ministers as you can find and get over here right away.
Thank you, Mr. Longy.
Boy. Mr. Ambassador, I have come halfway around the world to attend a meaningless ANZUS conference with a lame duck government, defeated by a landslide in an election you failed to predict, by a man you have never actually spoken to.
Wow.
And this man now leads a government which hopes to set a precedent which could have serious repercussions for us militarily all around the world.
We exchange greetings at cocktail parties. But he's an awful hard man to pin down.
You were brilliant, David.
Yep, right on the button.
Well, if that doesn't flush the gnats out, nothing will.
Sir Robert's not prepared to observe proper constitutional procedures.
We'll have to make him.
Hold on, Jim. Let's just give him a ring. Talk to him. Bring him round.
No one's answering.
Well, we could all resign from cabinet and protest.
That'll leave Muldoon in sole charge of the country for a whole week until Labour are sworn in.
Nothing?
No.
We'll give him until morning, okay?
Then you'll have to tell the Governor-General that the Prime Minister no longer has the confidence of Cabinet.
And?
And Beattie will have to sack him.
Love the roses. Gonna miss this place, Tam.
It's been a beautiful garden to look after.
Yep.
Mr. Secretary, there have been suggestions from visiting congressmen that a ban on nuclear ships could invoke trade sanctions in the United States.
That is not the policy of my government.
Ladies and gentlemen, we discussed arms controls, regional conflicts, East-West relations, and the world economy. Surely we could have some questions on one of those subjects instead of...
Mr. Secretary, sir,
Right,
a question.
Mr. Renane.
Mr. Secretary, will a nuclear ship ban mean the end of ANZUS?
Jesus wept. What kind of an alliance do you have when the military forces of the countries involved can't be in contact with one another? Look, I don't want to get too involved with iffy questions. There are a lot of aspects to this, and other issues, which any new government needs to study carefully as it comes to terms with the realities of power.
There's no money.
Yeah, well, when you say no money, what do you actually mean?
There's no money.
No money? Well, does that mean no money like...
Nothing. Next week we have to repay a loan and we can't.
How much is the loan?
312 million in Swiss francs.
Well, let's not pay it. Bugger them. Tell them to wait.
A default on one loan, any loan, is default on all of them. That's how they're written. We'd be bankrupt.
Yeah, well, why not do that?
Our credit rating would plummet. The next time we had to borrow money, our interest rate would go through the roof.
Yeah, we can't afford that. Per capita, we're already the most indebted people on Earth.
Yeah, okay, well, what can we do?
Well, nothing, so long as the foreign exchange remains closed. On the other hand, if we open without a devaluation, there'll be another run on the dollar. And we haven't the reserves to cover that.
An immediate and significant devaluation is the only solution.
Dr. Dean, there are a good many people in the Labor Party who fear my government will be railroaded by people such as yourself. They don't want me to become a prisoner of Reserve Bank and Treasury economic advice.
Well, you'd be wise to consult widely, I agree.
There's going to be real resistance from them to any devaluation of the dollar.
Who's in there with David?
Dean from the Reserve Bank.
That's a supply-side free marketeer.
And Roger and Richard.
They're not much better.
Started already.
The sooner we get in there, the better.
You can't, I'm sorry. No interruptions, not even phone calls or messages.
Well, that didn't take long.
But don't kid yourself. Devaluation just gets us over this crisis. You've inherited the poorest performing economy in the OECD. Every year for the last 10 years, we've run up large balance of payment deficits.
We continue to sell overseas far less than we spend. We're supposed to lead the world in agriculture. We have to prop it up with incentives and subsidies.
Our manufacturers need tariffs to survive.
Pushing up the prices our people have to pay.
Sir Robert's response to any economic indicator that he didn't like, inflation, for instance, was to try and ban it. We've been living in a kind of hermetically sealed economic time capsule.
What happens to that capsule if we break the seal?
Our reality will come rushing in.
There'll be damage.
Is there any easier way of doing this?
Sir Robert couldn't find one.
Ah, Sir Robert. Sir Robert, it's my painful duty to inform you that...
All right, save your breath. I'll do it. Tell Longy I'll devalue. Go on.
He's going to devalue.
Thank God.
Still enough. We'll have to implement a whole range of measures.
Tell McClovey what a written guarantee that Muldoon will authorise whatever we deem necessary. Do you think we can have all this fixed up in 3 years?
Well, it depends how ruthless you're prepared to be. I think you might have something to show by the end of your second term.
Assuming we get re-elected after the carnage.
Sir Robert Muldoon has agreed to carry out the incoming government's instructions. There'll be an immediate devaluation of 20%. Interest rate controls are also to be lifted immediately. Wage freeze will be extended for another 3 months only.
I'm bound to say, Mr. Longy, how impressed we are with your handling of the currency and constitutional crises.
It's been a baptism of fire.
We also appreciate your allowing the ANZUS Council meeting to proceed without kicking up a fuss.
Sir Robert's sudden rush of blood was hardly your fault.
Nevertheless, the time spent talking with the outgoing government could better have been spent talking with you.
These things happen.
You are aware, of course, that your nuclear policy puts you on a direct collision course with U.S. foreign policy.
Mr. Secretary, in my experience, all collisions are avoidable.
I'm pleased to hear that. My country carries a huge burden defending the free world. We consider the occasional visit from one of our warships to be a small price to pay.
Any number of American warships are welcome in our ports, Mr. Secretary. They can come here in droves. The more the merrier, provided they're not carrying nuclear weapons.
It's not quite that simple, Mr. Longy. Your party's policy also bans nuclear-propelled ships, which effectively excludes 40% of the U.S. Blue Water Navy.
Personally, I think we should review our policy on nuclear propulsion, but my party's going to take some convincing.
How long do you need?
With respect, Mr. Secretary, I haven't even been sworn in as Prime Minister yet. This is not really the time to talk rationally about the issue. The party's regional conferences are still some 6 months away.
Any ship visits scheduled in that time frame, Mr. Ambassador?
Not to my knowledge.
I'm told you're to be in New York in September for the UN General Assembly. Perhaps we can talk again then.
I look forward to it.
Fine. In the meantime, Ambassador Brown and our people here will give you every assistance in resolving this issue.
We'll certainly be in touch, David.
Thanks, Monroe. Look forward to that.
Gee, it looks pretty posh. It's awfully nice of you to invite me to have a look around.
Oh, not at all. Sir Robert and I have been very happy here, and I know you'll enjoy it too. These are the things we use when the Queen comes.
Gosh.
Would you like a look at the bedrooms?
I would love to.
Perhaps your secretary would like a cup of tea in the kitchen with the staff.
I'll catch up with you later then, Maureen.
I, David Russell Longy.
I, David Russell Longy, being chosen and admitted, swear that I will, to the best of my judgment,
give my counsel and advice to the Governor-General.
Give my counsel and advice to the Governor-General.
For the good management of the affairs of New Zealand.
For the good management of the affairs of New Zealand.
That I will not reveal directly or indirectly such matters as shall be debated in council.
I will not reveal directly or indirectly such matters as shall be debated in council.
And committed to my secrecy.
I am committed to my secrecy, but that I will in all things be a true and faithful counsellor. So help me God.
It's been a privilege working for you, sir.
Excuse me, Sir Robert. Can I have the keys to your lift?
Mum's home. We saw you on television. And Dad was the Governor General. You were real cool.
Oh, well, it was pretty cool. Here, that's for you.
Thank you.
Cup of falele.
Ta, Naomi. Mum, will we have to go live in Wellington now Dad's Prime Minister?
I don't know, darling.
I don't want to go. All my friends are here and I'd have to change schools.
Oh, well, my feet are killing me. I'll make a cup of tea and we can talk about it.
Okay, I'll take it.
Could you read this, please, sir? And sign it.
David, Joe.
It's the Special Intelligence Indoctrination paper, sir.
David.
Which has to be read and understood by all incoming Prime Ministers.
And I'm the special intelligence to be indoctrinated. I presume one of these is my hotline to the Kremlin?
That brown one is your secure phone. It has a scrambler on it, which breaks everything down into meaningless electronic grunts and squawks. You use a decoder to make sense of the conversation at the other end of the line.
How much are they? I need one for Naomi. What's wrong?
You've signed this document, sir. Which is an acknowledgement that you've understood the various and considerable obligations incumbent upon you as Prime Minister.
Test me.
I couldn't do that, Prime Minister.
I insist, Gerald.
Section 9, subclause 3 deals with what?
The duties and responsibilities of the Minister in charge of the Security Intelligence Service. Namely, my good self.
And what are the implications of that?
Well, it seems that I'm to talk to no one.
Not your wife, not your staff, not even your cabinet colleagues, except on a limited, need-to-know basis. In other words, this part of your life has to be compartmentalized from the rest. From now on, you are...
Man alone. Gerald's not about, is he?
Hensley? No, why?
I'm to talk to no one. Absolutely no one. About anything. Unless it's trivial and of no conceivable danger to the security of the realm.
How many subjects does that leave us?
How's your new flat?
Very cosy. How was first day as Prime Minister?
Oh, I can't give too much away. But I think I can say without breaching national security that I really like my chair. It swivels, and I've got a stunning view.
Of the real world.
That's the curious part. I've only been here one day. Already this world seems very real and solid to me. It's the outside world that seems far away and artificial.
Air Vice Marshal Sir Ewan Jameson, Chief of Defence Staff, has just arrived. Gerald Hensley, whom you've already met...
Yes, I have.
...is waiting outside with the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Mervyn Norrish.
I know Merv.
They wanted individual appointments.
Oh, that'd be like Chinese water torture.
Sir?
They're all peddling the same message. I'd rather have the whole bucketful tipped over my head at once.
Quite so. I'll show them in.
Any nuclear ban would be seen as being contemptuous of their security concerns and calculated to undermine them.
How do you feel about the weapons of mass destruction, Air Vice Marshal?
I find the prospects of nuclear war to be totally abhorrent, sir. So does everyone. Which is why the very existence of weapons of mass destruction makes them formidable peacekeepers in their own right.
So two people standing side by side with their heads inside nooses are both perfectly safe, because neither of them is prepared to take the risk of kicking away the other's stool.
With respect, sir, I find your analogy simplistic.
Well, isn't that their purpose, to illustrate?
It might be helpful to look at some of the practical ramifications of the policy. It's the considered opinion of Foreign Affairs that pursuit of the nuclear-free policy could have severe economic consequences.
Well, Schultz has told me the Americans will take no action against New Zealand's trade.
Yes, well, Schultz does speak for the Reagan administration, but not for the Congress or the Senate. They've already indicated they may well want a much harder line taken.
Economic sanctions could have a military downside too, sir.
How so?
We lack adequate air defences, heavy artillery, satellite communications systems. We have no effective interceptor fighter capacity. No surface-to-surface or surface-to-air missiles for any of the three services.
But we've never had any of that stuff.
Precisely, sir. We've never needed any of that stuff. Having powerful allies effectively gave it to us. And what we can afford, we can only afford because we get it at cost, direct from US military suppliers. Sir, the first principle of collective security is a readiness to bear a fair share of the costs and burdens of such security. Your party's proposed ban on nuclear ships abandons that principle entirely.
It is your decision, of course, sir. We will diligently implement any instructions. But I would be remiss in my duty if I didn't advise you that, on balance, my ministry considers the move contrary to New Zealand's broader interests.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Some detailed briefing papers from Defence and Foreign Affairs here for you to look at, David.
I'll study them carefully.
Our friends and allies are full of good advice. The Australians insist we should, and I quote, come down hard on those Kiwi bastards. The Brits want us, and I emphasize us, to teach them a lesson. The Japanese insist the so-called New Zealand disease must be isolated and eradicated before it spreads. The Germans, the Spanish, the Greeks, the Norwegians, and every other Tom, Dick, and Harry all agree that New Zealand can't be allowed to get away with it. Of course, all these people have their own peace movements to deal with, and they don't want New Zealand's example to give those movements any heart. Can anyone see a pattern in all this?
We come off looking like a bunch of heavy-handed thugs while our friends keep their hands clean and their reputations unsullied.
Exactly. We have to move carefully on this. Jim, what progress is Longy making on the big speech he promised to make?
Well, he hasn't made it yet. Longy's told Brown that he requires more hard data on propulsion before he commits himself to the speech.
Well, we're more than happy to help educate Mr. Longy. In fact, we'll bury his ass in data. In the end, he'll wish he'd kept his head down and settled for a miserly frigate or two.
Now, your personal popularity is at a record high. If you lifted a nuke ship ban, the Labour Party would have to go along with it.
My personal popularity is irrelevant, Munro. My party won an overwhelming mandate to exclude nuclear weapons from New Zealand.
Now, when Bob Hawke came into office in Australia, his party was committed to a review of ANZUS topic, but he stood out to his left wing. And I know for a fact that our president now holds Bob Hawke in the highest regard for his considerable act of courage and statesmanship.
And as for Bob?
Hey, Munro will be telling David they're reserving a spot for him on Mount Rushmore.
Munro, the Labour Party won a mandate from the whole nation.
Great leaders don't surrender to public opinion. They do what has to be done. It's down to you, David. The free world is depending on you to hold the line.
You must tell the free world I'm honoured to be the repository of its trust.
In truth, Washington's on my back, David. They want to know when you're going to make the speech to the party.
I'm too busy reading the stuff your mates in the Pentagon sent me. Did you know that the radiation emitted from a United States Navy Polaris sub is less than the ambient radiation in the volume of water it displaces?
I must admit, I didn't know that.
Thank you, I'll take that. Thanks so much. The human body burns more calories digesting celery than celery actually contains.
They told you that?
So if I eat enough of this stuff, they should eventually disappear.
I can't figure out that guy at all, Chuck.
Time we called in the heavy artillery. The Hughes briefing.
The Soviet military doctrine and strategy for global war assumes that a war between the USSR, Warsaw Pact, and the US, NATO, would be a decisive conflict between socialism and capitalism to determine which system would prevail.
Prime Minister, I've just received a message which has the gravest consequences. The Soviet Union has just launched a massive first strike missile attack on the United States.
What?
I'm advised they'll impact in 19 minutes.
Strike on the United States. This is outrageous.
I was very relieved when Gerald came back to inform me it was a flock of geese crossing the Arctic Circle.
First that stupid briefing, now this. What game are the Americans playing?
I reckon they're trying to put the wind up me about the burgeoning Soviet menace.
Is Hensley in on this?
No, I reckon they're trying to put the wind up him too. He was deathly pale and shaking when he came to inform me that civilization as we know it had 90 minutes to run.
Poor thing. Must have been shocking. What did you do?
What can one do in 90 minutes? Thought about writing some letters. But who'd send them? Who'd receive them?
If I had 19 minutes left to live, I can think of more exciting things to do than writing letters.
I suppose I could too. But it'd take me 90 minutes to pluck up the courage to ask.
Maybe next time the Americans will give us more warning.
I better go. I've got to write that speech for the party's regional conference tomorrow.
Can I help?
Oh, I don't think you'd want to be associated with it. It's one the Americans have been hanging out for.
Hello?
Naomi.
Turn that television down. I'm trying to talk to your father.
Have you decided yet?
Oh, David, it's really difficult. I have a life of my own up here, all my friends. And then there's the electorate to look after and the kids' schooling. I just don't like that big old house either.
I don't know. I reckon the kids could make just as big a mess of this place as up there. You're not going to come, are you?
I don't really see how I can. Oh, God, there's something boiling over on the stove. I'll talk to you later.
Any comment on New Zealand's future in the Anzus alliance, Mr. Prime Minister?
Come inside, boys. You'll hear it all.
God bless you, David. Thanks to you, now I can believe that my grandchildren will have a planet to grow up on after all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fellow delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the leader of the Labour Party and Prime Minister of New Zealand, David Longy.
Thank you. Thank you for that fantastic welcome. I venture that no incoming government anywhere has caught the imagination of the world in quite the way this government has. By your saying, through this government, that we absolutely abhor the nuclear arms race. And that is the message I'll be delivering to the world when I go to the United Nations General Assembly.
But you told Secretary of State Schultz that you were going to ask the party to reconsider its policy on nuclear propulsion before you got to New York.
It was a victory conference. They wanted to celebrate after 9 years.
But you told us you were going to use the major party forums to emphasize the value of the Anzus alliance. Instead, we get this beacon of hope stuff.
Come on, Munro, it was a party romp.
Party romp. Party romp. What the hell does he mean by a party romp?
I guess he means it was a speech just for local consumption.
Local consumption, my ass. George Shultz isn't going to accept that. He'll read Longy the Riot Act when he gets over here.
Today, on the first leg of a trip in which he hopes to explain his country's anti-nuclear stance to the world, the New Zealand Prime Minister, David Longy, flew into the United States.
Can you believe this place? You can admire the view later, Ross. Let's get this fixed first.
What's the panic?
You want David to find us here doing this? Well, leave some Coke and peanuts, or he's sure to smell a rat. Oh, bedroom, please.
I hope that the Soviet Union will cooperate in this undertaking and reciprocate in a manner that will enable the two countries to establish the basis for verification for effective limits on underground nuclear testing. I believe such talks could work rapidly toward developing a one that is essential to crises and avoided and real arms control is to be negotiated.
Considering what you pay for these rooms, you think they'd leave more than a couple of bags of nuts?
Schultz will be here in about an hour, David.
Right. Thanks, Ken.
The way of truth and love has always won, was the belief and the vision of Mahatma Gandhi.
Gandhi? From Reagan?
He described
He's just offered the Soviets an olive branch the size of a tree.
good and true.
Mr. Secretary, can we have a word, please? Speech at the UN, sir. Does that change the Anzus equation?
All right there, guys. Yeah, Mr. Secretary's not talking to anybody.
I'll get David to talk to you guys afterwards.
Mr. Secretary, I was most impressed by the President's address to the UN. The Gandhi quote was very moving. A way of love and truth.
Any concessions we offer the Russians can only be made from a position of unity and strength in the Western alliance. How are things progressing?
Well, it's taken longer than I thought it would to sort things out with my colleagues.
Time is something we no longer have, Mr. Prime Minister.
No?
We can't let this just roll on.
Agreed. Let's put it to the test.
There's an ANZUS Sea Eagle exercise taking place in the Tasman in March of next year. We'd like one of our ships to pay a courtesy call on a New Zealand port at the conclusion of those exercises.
One of your warships?
Just so there are no misunderstandings. We are not talking nuclear-powered aircraft carriers here. Nor are we talking rusty tugs. We want a bona fide warship from that exercise.
Of course. Put in a formal request and let's test the thing. Nominate an appropriate vessel, and my government will endeavour to come up with an appropriate response. Our world is creeping closer and closer. The horror. Nuclear war. The armament statistics are so dreadful, they numb the imagination. We now possess over 47,000 nuclear weapons. Not only do we have enough nuclear weapons to reduce the Northern Hemisphere to rubble, we can now make that rubble bounce 50 times over. Of course, we won't be here to appreciate the latter stages of this global trampoline. It is an obscenity, pure and simple.
In the final analysis, isn't New Zealand going to have to do what America wants?
No. Our foreign policy isn't up for grabs.
Prime Minister, Congressman Delagaza of Texas has threatened trade reprisals against New Zealand dairy products unless you change your policy.
I speak for New Zealand foreign policy. George Shultz speaks for American foreign policy. Congressmen from Texas speak for themselves.
David Longy wound up his week in New York with a private meeting with the legendary Soviet Foreign Minister Andrei Gromyko. Heady stuff for a young man who's been in office less than 4 months. Tomorrow, he heads for London. If, as has been suggested, Longy did strike a deal for ship visits with George Shultz,
What does that mean?
there will be music to Margaret Thatcher's ears when he calls on her tomorrow afternoon at her country residence, Chequers.
It grieves me to think that New Zealand, a staunch ally of Britain's in so many conflicts in the past, should now shirk her responsibility to the Western Alliance.
Prime Minister.
You are free to believe what you want to, young man. That is your concern. But I will not tolerate you propagating or advocating in any way, shape, or form this foolishness on English soil.
The David Longy anti-nuke roadshow is well into its final leg, although there have been rebuffs to set against the UN triumph. Mystery still surrounds Longy's meeting with Shultz in New York. The details of any deal will have to wait until the PM returns home next week, after a stopover in New Delhi for what is expected to be a much warmer chat with the Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi.
Look at it. There's enough material for a novel every 100 yards in this country. I first came here on my honeymoon. Fell in love with the place. It never changes, but it's always different. It's the only place on earth where you can be going to work on public transport, have the bus pulled over in a public roadblock, and be given a vasectomy against your will. I'd love to be able to do that to some of my colleagues.
Mahatma said, we must be the change we seek in the world. Your country was the first to give women the vote. The first country to introduce free education for its citizens. The first to give its workers a 40-hour week. And the first with free healthcare for all its people. And I believe it was a New Zealander who first split the atom.
We don't own up to him anymore.
They will isolate you and make you feel like you are committing a terrible crime.
They're certainly trying.
You have to be strong and determined. We cannot discover new oceans unless we have the courage to lose sight of the shore.
There, see? You weren't forgotten. Flogged from the best hotels in the world. Ken's got the monogram towers in his bag.
The American ambassador, the chief of general staff, and the secretary of foreign affairs are waiting for you, David.
Right. To what do I owe this honour?
Oh, well, we thought we should follow up quickly on your offer to George Schultz.
He hasn't been back 5 minutes and they've pounced on him.
They were just trying to make sure you didn't get to him first.
What's that supposed to mean?
I wonder if we might not look at working this thing through on a less formal, less structured, more personal basis.
What are you suggesting, Munro?
This must go no further than this room. Can I have your assurance on that?
Okay.
My information is that if you were to send someone to talk directly to Admiral Bill Crow at Pearl Harbor, a ship acceptable to both countries could probably be found.
What do you think, Muth?
Well, it sounds like a very generously spirited officer. And it seems our only way around this impasse.
Certainly worth exploring. Whom would we send?
We have to play this pretty close to our chests. I wonder whether we shouldn't send the Chief of General Staff. You know Bill Crow personally, Ewan.
Yes, I do. And of course I'd be willing to talk with him. As long as both parties were acting in good faith. I wouldn't want to be used as some kind of stalking horse for the Labour Party.
So you and you'd be travelling to Pearl Harbor as my personal representative. Yeah, g'day.
Dad, you're home.
Yay, ice cream for Buddy!
G'day, Dad.
Hello.
Ah, the ice cream.
I asked you to get it on the way home.
I had my driver, so I was sitting in the back reading these papers. I clean forgot.
Your father's too grand to go to the dairy these days.
It's just different. Sorry, kids.
Sorry kids all the time at the moment, David. You hardly ever hear, and when you are, you're a million miles away.
I'm sorry.
You are still taking the boys to the Token House with you after Christmas, David?
Sure, if they want to come.
David, you invited them. You can't keep making promises to people if you don't intend to keep them.
Bottom line, Ewan, is we cannot compromise our neither confirm or deny policy.
Nor should you.
But having said that, we do have some ships, which, while theoretically nuclear capable, have in fact only the remotest possibility of ever carrying nuclear weapons. As long as that ship has that theoretical capability, we can make it pretty damn obvious that it's not actually carrying nuclear weapons. You hear what I'm saying?
I think so.
It could be an older vessel, for instance. It could carry a type of armament which is usually not nuclear-tipped. It could be routed first to Japan, which, as you know, asks us to respect their anti-nuclear sentiment and not to bring nuclear weapons into their territorial waters. So that without ever having to say whether or not it's carrying nuclear weapons, we can make it damn clear that it's not.
Some people in caucus are a little jittery about exactly what happened in the meeting with Schultz in New York, David.
Have the Americans formally requested a ship visit or what?
What does test the policy actually mean?
Yeah, what was this deal with Schultz?
Look, don't get your knickers in a twist about ship visits. Our policy is very clear. If they're carrying nuclear weapons or if they're nuclear propelled, we don't let them in.
I'm pleased to hear it, David. Have you seen the notes for the proposed budget? Export assistance schemes gone. Farming subsidies gone. Manufacturing subsidies gone.
That's right.
We are punishing the productive sector.
Yeah, well, if they're productive, they don't need subsidies.
Look at this. Raise the price of coal and electricity to reflect the true cost of production. That's Treasury polemic if ever I heard it.
Yeah, it also makes sense.
It's going to hit our people, Richard, and it's going to hit them hard.
Look, market distortions are already hurting our people.
You'll be wanting to float the dollar next.
We should. The latest run on the dollar is hurting our people.
Yeah, why should this country keep paying through the nose just to reward these speculators?
Children, please. You're forgetting the family care package totally. We've specifically targeted that assistance at low and middle income families. Indira Gandhi's been assassinated.
What?
Shot. Would you believe it? By her favourite bodyguard. It's not easy being told constantly by all your advisors that you're wrong. That we'll never sell another pound of butter in Europe. That you're putting your country at risk.
I know, David.
She was the only one who understood. Schultz is like cold marble. Hawke's a nasty little bastard behind the scenes. Thatcher talked to me like she was addressing a Nuremberg rally. The other leaders were no better. But Indira was great.
Don't let the bastards grind you down, David.
I can't.
I mean our lot too. Foreign affairs, defence.
Don't worry about them.
They've been there pulling levers for decades. And they're clever. You've got to be careful.
It's a destroyer, sir. Charles F. Adams class.
How old?
At least 20 years. It may well be fitted with an ASROC weapons system, which normally deploys conventional depth charges.
Normally?
The charges can be nuclear-tipped, but only under special circumstances.
Which is most unlikely on a visit to the Southern Ocean.
Exactly. Given the vessel's age, class, and the route taken, the mathematical possibility of it carrying nuclear weapons is so low as to be virtually nil.
Does it have a name?
The USS Buchanan.
What exactly are we allowed to say about this ship?
Almost anything you like. The one thing you can't say, of course, is that the Americans have given us any assurances that it won't be carrying nuclear weapons. To do so would breach their neither confirm nor deny policy.
I think I can live with that. What can I do for you today, Ambassador?
Prime Minister David. Sir, my government will shortly be formally requesting a visit to a New Zealand port by a United States destroyer. And that will first be routed through Japan. Will that request be received favorably?
You could say that, Munro.
David, what's this? An invitation to the Oxford Union debate?
Ah. I heard that was coming. Simon Walker put them up to it.
Great honour, David. A first for New Zealand. What's the subject?
The morality of nuclear weapons.
You can't go to Oxford. Not now. Not with a ship and everything in place. It would be the very worst kind of self-indulgence.
A Swedish group have nominated me for a Nobel Peace Prize. I suppose that would be another act of gargantuan self-indulgence to accept that were I to win it.
I must strongly urge you to decline the invitation, sir. The risks are too high. Mr. Fall's a superb television performer. You risk a humiliating loss, not just for yourself, but for New Zealand. If things go wrong, you could well become another one-term Labour government. I have to agree with Sir Ewan. In the light of other developments, you must decline.
Oh, come in. I was just lost in thought.
You look terrible. I thought you'd be pleased about the invitation.
I am. I've wanted to debate at the Oxford Union since I was in the debating team at uni. It's the ultimate.
And?
Why do life's pleasures come bound up with so many problems?
You're going to accept, surely.
I'd love to do it.
You've got to do it.
Munro, you know that horse of yours has just cost me a fortune.
You think he's costing you money, Richard?
Look, what's the story on these ship visits, Munro?
We think something's going on, but we can't get any sense out of David.
You know, David, I've never been able to get any sense out of your Prime Minister.
Yeah, well, come on, Munro, you must know.
Now, you know I can't talk about that sort of thing with you, Richard. Longy hasn't told his own cabinet about the Buchanan visit.
Ken, I need an appointment for the ambassador. It's imperative that Munro see the PM today.
That might be a tad difficult.
Lange's making a state visit to the Tokelau Islands. He sailed 3 days ago.
Tokelau's? Where the hell are the Tokelau's?
Somewhere in the Pacific, sir.
Let's get this straight. Monroe says Longy's cabinet appear to have no idea the Buchanan is on its way.
None at all.
The Buchanan's already left Japan. Longy's supposed to be preparing the ground in Wellington. I hope the fat bastard isn't doing a runner. Has anyone tried to talk to him and get him back?
Apparently, it would be easier to contact someone on the far side of the moon.
I'll get to him.
What?
Ross, mate.
Don't make me, Renee. It's 1:30 in the bloody morning.
Not in Washington, Ross, if it's any consolation. Broad daylight over there.
Washington? What's Washington got to do with anything?
You tell me, Ross.
Come on, Joe. It's too late.
What's the guts on this destroyer, the Buchanan? Supposed to be steaming its way towards New Zealand.
What?
My sources say that...
That's bullshit. Someone's having you on.
Ross. This is horse's mouth stuff. If I were you, mate, I'd check it out.
I've never heard of the Buchanan. Did you know anything about it?
No, but senior people in defence and foreign affairs certainly do.
This is preposterous. Who's running this country?
Technically speaking, while Longy's away, you are, sir.
We've got to talk to David about this. If there is even the slightest suggestion it's nuclear armed, we're in big trouble.
You want to reply, boss? It's not going to be easy on this thing.
No reply.
have no idea what David was up to, and quite frankly, while he's not here to explain things...
No, just what the hell was he up to, huh? Making agreements behind our backs.
In David's defence, it appears the ship is very obviously not carrying nuclear weapons.
But is theoretically nuclear capable.
Which is fine as long as we can be assured.
Oh, well, if it's nuclear capable, it's out.
That's not our policy.
It is.
When did that happen?
When we realised that otherwise the Yanks could play us for suckers.
We'd have established a precedent. Nuclear-capable rust bucket this year, nuclear-capable aircraft carrier next year.
We have to work out how much we can tell the press.
Finally got a scoop I could use.
Yeah, courtesy of the White House. I love it. Hey, here we go.
My, what a lot of people.
Mr. Palmer,
can you guarantee... one at a time, please.
Mr. Palmer, the ship the Americans want to send here, is it nuclear-powered or nuclear-armed?
It clearly is not nuclear-propelled. It could, however, be nuclear-capable.
So it will be carrying nuclear weapons, then?
No, Mr. Harmon, that is not what it means at all. It just means that under certain circumstances, which don't apply in this case, that the ship in question has armaments which are capable of being fitted with nuclear warheads.
Can the government live with that?
Well, it was my understanding that the government has always been prepared to welcome a nuclear-capable ship, provided it was satisfied with the evidence that at the time of its visit to New Zealand it was not carrying nuclear weapons.
How can you tell, Mr. Palmer?
We have the capacity to decide.
What capacity?
Well, it depends on the context of the visit. We would, of course, be guided by the advice of our officials, who have a great deal of technical expertise in these matters.
You're not under oath, Jeffrey. Don't say anything.
Just when everything was going so smoothly.
This is getting out of control. The Australian papers are full of it, our papers are full of it. It's all you get on talkback radio. I'm getting sackloads of mail. Half the party's threatening to resign. When's David due back?
End of next week. He'll be in Pango Pango on Sunday.
Well, it's vital that David be here for Monday's cabinet meeting. You'll have to go to Pango Pango and get him back. And make sure that he's fully briefed before he gets here, because when he arrives, half of New Zealand will want a piece of him.
Not to mention his own cabinet.
Why is everyone blaming David? He would never have made any secret deals with the Americans.
I hate to disillusion you, but it seems he did. David, we tried to get you a message.
We played cricket for the rest of the world against the Takelas, and we won.
There's a terrible crisis waiting for you back in Wellington.
We were greeted with full military honours by a guard of honour with wooden rifles.
David.
Never felt safer in my life.
David, things are going crazy back home. This is the External Intelligence Bureau report on the Buchanan. This is the Defence Department report. The Foreign Affairs report, which of course argues that the ship visit should proceed. And a letter from Jeffrey Palmer.
We just can't. What stupid game is he playing? I mean, this is ridiculous.
I'd like to thank you all for bearing the brunt of this controversy while I've been away. Next time I make a state visit to the Takelas, I'll make sure I'm travelling on a ship with a functioning radio. Can I begin by saying that I have very few burning convictions in politics, but being opposed to nuclear weapons is one of them. Clearly then, were we to accept a visit from a nuclear-capable ship now, it would appear we'd back down on our policy. Therefore, the Buchanan visit is off.
How dare you? I'm researching your speech for the Oxford Union debate while you're doing secret deals with the Americans behind my back. You bastard.
Listen, Margaret. There was no one I could talk to. I was trying to get them to send a ship that would have served both our needs.
Bullshit! You can't play both sides like that, David.
Don't get so bloody high-minded with me. We're not in opposition now. We're sitting at the grown-ups table now, Margaret. How could I allow my country to be at loggerheads with the most powerful in the history of the planet?
You were going to compromise...
Not on the question of nuclear weapons. Look, the fact that it was almost impossible for that ship to be nuclear armed would have been a victory for the New Zealand position.
No. Getting a ship in here that was even theoretically nuclear capable would be a victory for the American position.
Come on, Margaret. The Inter-Island Ferry could be classified as nuclear capable if you wanted it to be.
You know what I mean.
The Buchanan isn't coming.
Really?
Do you want to start writing the speech?
You're going to Oxford?
Tell them I'm coming. I'm committing the worst crime a democratically elected Prime Minister can commit. I'm honouring our most important promise to the people. The Americans might never forgive us.
That greasy, double-dealing fat bastard! We had a deal, for Christ's sakes!
We did.
We've got to show the world there's a price to pay when you dump on Uncle Sam. Bring me every file detailing every link the American armed forces have with their New Zealand counterparts. We're gonna cut these bastards adrift.
I could have gone to Washington with the president, you know, Chuck. Served in cabinet. But at my time of life, I didn't need Capitol Hill. So Ron said, Monroe, you want to be an ambassador somewhere, name your country. There was no contest. New Zealand was peaceful, quiet, English-speaking, great grass and horses. I didn't think Mrs. Brown and I could go wrong here. You know what I hate most about this whole thing, Chuck? I was right. Mrs. Brown and I really love this place. I've tried to do my best at all times, but I've let the president down.
Yes?
David,
Hi.
I've thought about the Oxford Union trip. I thought I might like to come after all.
You're too late. I don't think you'd enjoy it much anyway. Look, I was just on my way out the door. Tell the kids I'll bring them tonight as usual. Bye now.
Bye.
In Canberra, Australian Prime Minister Bob Hawke announced that the Sea Eagle exercise was cancelled.
The reprisals against New Zealand continue. A visit of New Zealand MPs to Pearl Harbor has been cancelled. An invitation for RNZAF Orions to take part in anti-submarine exercises off Hawaii has been withdrawn.
The new leader of the opposition, Jim McClay, has accused the government of destroying ANZUS. In a statement released today,
The Under-Secretary for Agriculture says the US is considering dumping surplus dairy products on world markets to teach New Zealand a lesson.
Schultz assures me that won't happen.
Can you rely on the Reagan administration when there have been demands for trade reprisals against New Zealand in both the Congress and the Senate?
If we can't rely upon the Secretary of State, who can we rely upon?
Do you think you should be leaving New Zealand at a time like this, just to take part in a student debate?
Mr. Griffin, as John F. Kennedy once said, we'll travel any distance bear any burden, pay any price to uphold the truth. The Oxford Union is no ordinary forum, and this will be no ordinary debate.
That's all very well, Mr. Prime Minister, but the US Secretary of Defence has issued new threats against New Zealand today. Do you think the United States is trying to pull the rug out from underneath you?
No. But they may be polishing the lino a bit harder in the hope that I execute an unseemly glide across it.
Did we grant permission for all of this?
Probably not. We were family.
Not any longer. All this gets to chop. I don't want Longy to read about this. I want you to go to LA tomorrow. Tell him to his face when he stops over on his way to Oxford.
Guess who said this? Nuclear weapons are immoral.
Bertrand Russell?
Correct. But Time magazine's quoting that other noted peace activist and philosopher, Ronald Reagan.
Look at this. It's happening again.
Another run on the dollar.
Look, I agree with Rod. Let's float the bloody dollar and be done with it. Oh, all this farting around. It's costing the country millions of dollars.
We'll need David's help.
He's left for London.
That's not a problem. You could consult individually with the rest of the cabinet from there.
Yeah, well, someone will have to brief David in person.
Well, it's awfully short notice. Well, if you feel it's necessary, I'll...
Rod will go.
If you insist.
Thanks, everyone.
These situations, Rod, you must remember you're a disinterested party. As a public servant, you give advice. You keep your personal opinions to yourself.
That's bullshit, Bernie. Rod, if you don't persuade David to float, don't bother coming home.
There will be an end forthwith to all military cooperation. All postings of New Zealand military personnel to the United States will be cancelled. New Zealand will no longer be invited to confidential briefings that the Pentagon has regularly held for officers of America's military allies.
Is that your considered view? If so, our whole country will suffer.
It's all right, Gerald. It's all right.
New Zealand's diplomatic representatives are going to find it harder and harder to get anyone in the administration to talk to them.
The agreement under which the United States shares processed intelligence with New Zealand is now terminated. The United States will continue to share this information with other countries party to the agreement, but only on the understanding that they do not pass this material on to New Zealand. That's all, Brigadier. People here won't be returning your calls anymore, Alf. And when you want a cup of coffee up here, you bring your own quarter.
I understand.
I hate doing this to you, Alf, but Longy gave us no option.
Rod, I don't need any persuading on the urgent need to float the dollar. Some of my colleagues might need some convincing.
Roger suggested you ring them all from here. If they agree, the announcement could be made in Wellington tomorrow morning.
The ANZUS alliance is one thing. But tomorrow I step on an international stage in front of 70 million people to condemn nuclear weapons and, by implication, US policy. If we float, is there any way the Americans could punish us by destroying our dollar value?
Easily. But I can't believe there'd be any geopolitical advantage for the US in a bankrupt New Zealand.
Ken, can you bring the magic book up? I'll ring Jeffrey Palmer last. He's bound to panic and ring all the others. All the lines will be engaged. And I'll leave Mike Mortal near the end. He'll try and blackmail me into giving him more money for some loony scheme or other.
What's the secrecy? What's David up to?
Routine cabinet business. He won't be much longer.
7 down, 5 to go. Come on. He's not answering. What time is it back there?
4 a.m.
We should be home at this hour.
You could try him on this number, David.
I thought he was happily married.
This woman makes him very happy. And he is married.
How do they get away with it? You know this will change everything. There'll be no going back. How does it make you feel?
I'm comfortable with it. You?
We've cut ourselves adrift. Economically, militarily, culturally. The umbilical cord to our past has been severed. New Zealand won't ever be the same again. You know, there are some in the Labour Party who talk fondly of Fortress New Zealand, holding at bay the worst excesses of the 20th century. The reality was never that grand. We were hedgehog New Zealand, curling ourselves up into a frightened little ball and praying the outside world wouldn't run over us. And tomorrow we stand up in the full glare of the international spotlight and say, this is who we are, this is what we believe, and damn the consequences.
No regrets.
A remarkable woman once told me that in order to discover new oceans, we must first have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Come in.
Just came to wish you good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, to speak for the negative is the celebrated American evangelist and leader of the moral majority, Jerry Falwell.
It is a great honor for a little insignificant Baptist preacher from Virginia to come to this prestigious debating society. No one in this room, including the Prime Minister, believes that the Soviets intend to dispose of their arsenal in the foreseeable future, or rewrite their Marxist-Leninist philosophy, which basically states they must save the world by dominating it. For that reason, we are debating whether it is moral for the West to possess nuclear strength to deter the Soviets from their goals. I would contend that it is not nuclear weapons that are immoral, but the people who threaten to use them.
Christ. He's gonna come across like a redneck from the gun lobby.
The Soviet Union is a godless, atheistic dictatorship that continues to pose a threat to civilized values the world over.
Good socialist message.
Yeah, poor David must be shitting himself.
Russian communism is world domination. The West is justified in deploying nuclear weapons to deter Soviet aggression.
When's
And it
Daddy's
is the
turn?
moral code of the West
He's on next, darling.
to take care of those who cannot take care of themselves, or who do not wish to. That includes my good friend, the Prime Minister opposite. As that great Russian writer Alexander Solzhenitsyn said, it is not a choice between being red or dead. To be red is to be dead, only more slowly.
For the affirmative, I now call upon the Prime Minister of New Zealand, the Right Honourable David Longy.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, I would like to greet the President of the United States, who's watching tonight in the White House. The motion before us that nuclear weapons are immoral is an assertion that he himself made in Time magazine last year.
Did he?
I feel a considerable sympathy for the members of the opposite side who have this extraordinary sense of destabilisation at the imminent prospect of peace breaking out. I haven't got a case to make against the policeman's truncheon. I accept a state must protect itself against aggression. A system of defence serves its purpose if it generates a sense of security in those it defends. But nuclear weapons being used as a defence terrorises as much as the threat of nuclear attack. Europe and the United States are ringed about with nuclear weapons, and your people have never been more at risk. There's only one thing more terrifying than nuclear weapons pointed in your direction, and that is nuclear weapons pointed in your enemy's direction. The outcome in either case would be the same, and that is the annihilation of you and all of us, and that as a defence is no defence. It's quite without logic, reason, or any sense at all. Yeah.
Sir, why don't you do the consistent and honourable thing and pull out of ANZUS?
I was just getting to that if you just hold your breath for a moment. I could smell the uranium in it as you leant toward me.
Go get him, Dad!
We are told we live in the free world. We're also told by some US officials that New Zealand is to pay for its stand. Our decision is not to be cost-free. We're to be made an example of. We're to be ostracised and put on probation, and to be kept there until compelled to return to our seat in the dress circle of the nuclear theatre.
He's good, Rich. You gotta give him that.
New Zealanders want to decide for themselves how they are to be defended. To compel an ally to accept nuclear weapons against the wishes of that ally is to take the moral position of totalitarianism, which allows for no self-determination and is exactly the evil we are supposed to be fighting against. Strength for the West lies not in its force of arms, but in its free and democratic systems of government. This is its true strength, and that is threatened, not defended by nuclear weapons. Rejecting the logic of nuclear weapons does not mean surrendering to evil. Rejecting nuclear weapons is to assert what is human over the evil nature of the weapon. It is to return to mankind, to humanity, the power of decision. It is to allow moral force to reign supreme. It stops the macho lurch into mutual madness. And for me, the position of my country is a genuine, long-term affirmation of the proposition that nuclear weapons are morally indefensible, and I support that proposition.